In northwestern New Mexico, there is a desert that does not feel empty. It feels abandoned. The ground is split into ash-colored ridges. The silence is so complete, it starts to feel unnatural. And out of that stillness rise strange stone forms. Caprocks, spires, broken shapes that look less like geology and more like the ruins of something never meant for Earth. This is Bisti/De-Na-Zin Wilderness. Bisti does not overwhelm you with size the way a canyon does. It overwhelms you with strangeness. The land is not trying to impress you through height or scale. It unnerves you through form. Rock balances where it should collapse. Stone bulges into mushroom shapes. Ridges fold into one another in ways that feel too deliberate to be random and too chaotic to be designed. In most dramatic landscapes, movement helps the mind relax. Water moves, trees move, clouds race. But here, everything feels paused. The terrain looks like it belongs to a world that stopped in the middle of becoming something else. And that is why the title question works so well. Why does this desert look alien? Because alien does not always mean glowing skies or impossible colors. Sometimes it means something quieter and more unsettling. It means a place where the rules of shape no longer feel familiar. Bisti looks alien because time and erosion have pushed the land so far beyond ordinary desert forms that the result feels unreal. You are not looking at a fantasy world. You are looking at nature becoming so extreme that it starts to resemble imagination. To understand that feeling, you have to go back to a very different world. The rocks exposed in Bisti preserve the memory of deep prehistoric time, when this region held rivers, swampy ground, vegetation, and ecosystems that could support ancient life. Today, the Badlands feel lifeless, but the formations and fossils tell the opposite story. This was once a living environment, rich enough to leave behind petrified wood, vertebrate fossils, and the remains of habitats now shattered and exposed under an open New Mexico sky. That contrast is one of the most powerful things in the entire story. Because Bisti does not only look alien, it also looks dead. And yet buried in that dry silence is the evidence of a lost biological world. The hoodoos and ridges are not just strange objects. They are fragments of deep time, carved out of sediments that once belonged to landscapes filled with water, plants, and life. The desert you see now is not the original world. It is what remained after the softer, wetter, greener version of this place was erased. That erasure is what created the shapes that make Bisti unforgettable. The land is built from layers of sandstone, shale, mudstone, coal, and silt, and those layers do not weather at the same rate. Harder surfaces resist, softer ones give way. A caprock protects the weaker column beneath it a little longer. Rain weakens one layer. Wind attacks another. Clay collapses, sandstone holds. And slowly, a desert of weird architecture begins to emerge. The formations are not random sculptures. They are the result of materials responding differently to time. That is also why the place becomes so visually dangerous in the best way. The more your eye studies the shapes, the less natural they begin to feel. A hoodoo does not look like a normal rock. It looks staged. A mushroom-shaped pedestal does not look accidental. It looks intentional. Some surfaces appear soft and dusty, others cracked and armored, others layered like the shell of something ancient. The result is a landscape full of objects that seem to carry purpose, even though they were formed by indifference. Nature did not build monuments here. It simply eroded everything until the survivors began to look like monuments anyway. Then there is the openness. Bisti is remote, largely unmarked, and easy to become disoriented in. There are long stretches where the terrain repeats just enough to make direction feel unreliable. That matters because a place does not need predators or storms to feel threatening. Sometimes confusion is enough. Sometimes the danger is that the land offers no clear center, no easy path, no normal visual anchor. In a place like this, the landscape itself becomes the tension. That loss of orientation is part of why Bisti feels so cinematic. In most deserts, you can look around and understand the world immediately. Here, your eyes keep getting interrupted. Every rise reveals another broken field of stone. Every shadow suggests something hidden. Every strange cap rock feels like a prop from a planet no one has mapped yet. That is why photographers are drawn to it. Bisti is one of those rare places where reality already looks like concept art. The Badlands do not need enhancement to feel surreal. Time already did that work. And the deeper story makes it even better. Because once you know these formations are tied to fossil-bearing rock and ancient ecosystems, the alien feeling intensifies rather than fades. You are no longer just looking at strange rocks. You are looking at the exposed remains of a vanished world. Beneath the quiet Badland surface is the memory of prehistoric life, ancient water, burial and transformation. That is what gives Bisti its documentary power. It is not just visually weird, it is emotionally layered. The desert looks like another planet, but it is actually a broken archive of this one. This is where the impact on modern life becomes impossible to ignore, because Bisti now lives at the intersection of wilderness travel, landscape photography, internet virality, and scientific importance. It attracts people because it gives modern eyes something they are starving for. A place that still looks undiscovered, still feels unedited, still appears too strange to trust. At the same time, it protects fragile geological and paleontological resources that can be damaged by careless visitation. So Bisti represents a very modern tension, our hunger to find unreal places, and our responsibility not to destroy them once we do. There is also something bigger happening beneath the visual shock. Bisti changes how you think about deserts themselves. Most people hear the word desert and imagine simplicity, open ground, heat, emptiness, horizon. But this place rejects simplicity completely. It proves that barrenness can be intricate, that silence can be crowded, and that erosion can produce forms more imaginative than design. Bisti does not look alien because Earth failed to look like Earth. It looks alien because Earth is far more experimental than our daily lives allow us to remember. So why does this desert look alien? Because time stripped away the familiar version of the world and left behind the bones of a stranger one. Because ancient sediments from lost ecosystems weathered into hoodoos, spires, caprocks, and cracked badlands that no human architect would have planned, but every human eye instinctively questions. Because the wilderness is quiet enough, empty enough, and visually unstable enough to break the agreement between what you expect nature to look like and what nature is actually capable of becoming. And maybe that is the real power of Bisti/De-Na-Zin. Not that it looks like another planet, but that it forces you to admit this planet has always been strange enough. You do not need fiction to create alien scenery. You need shale, sandstone, mudstone, wind, rain, time, and the quiet brutality of erosion working without witness for millions of years. Out there in New Mexico, the Earth did not make a desert. It made the afterimage of a vanished world. If Bisti/De-Na-Zin made you feel like Earth can still hide places that look impossible, like this video and subscribe to Off the Map. Because next, we are going somewhere even more unsettling. Badwater Basin, Death Valley, California. Why is this place below sea level? And when you see a blinding white basin lying far beneath sea level in one of the harshest landscapes in America, The question will not be how empty it feels, it will be how a place like that can exist at all.